friends, welcome to The Buzz. On this episode, we'll be traveling to both sides of the county. First, we'll be in the west at McKinley Woods to peek in on the pelicans, as well as all the other birds that are migrating throughout the fall. Then we'll hike out east to Thorn Creek Woods Nature Preserve to learn why it is a hidden oasis in the suburbs. Get ready to look up, down, and all around on this episode of The Buzz. Fall's the time to look at the changing leaves or smell the emerging mushrooms in the forest, or take a hike in the prairie to see the asters and goldenrods in full bloom. But if you're a new birder or a bird nerd like myself, fall is about bird migration. It's an exciting time in the bird world because it's a chance to catch species that don't normally nest here. If you're a birder, sometimes you keep a yearly list or even a life list, and it's a chance to count a new bird. In northern Illinois, migration starts as early as August, can last through November, and even go as late as December. Birds travel on north-south routes called flyways. Their goal is to get from their northern breeding grounds to their wintering grounds down south. The birds will use these same routes every year. The United States has 4 flyways, including the Atlantic, the Mississippi, Central, and Pacific. Illinois is in the Mississippi Flyway, including Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and down through Alabama. Generally, the birds take cues from the environment to signal them to move. When the days get shorter, the loss of sunlight serves as a trigger. Storms and other weather events can affect their migration. Sometimes they have to hunker down in one spot, and other times they get totally blown off course. This is when we can see the really rare birds. In past years, we've seen a painted bunting at Medewin National Tallgrass Prairie. We've also seen a black-legged kittiwake at Wallen Lake, as well as a red-throated loon also at Wallen Lake. The earliest birds to migrate are your songbirds, which include grosbeaks, tanagers, and warblers. By September, we're going to see more hawks on the move. By October, you're going to see more ducks, loons, and sparrows moving. And even in November, you'll have to keep your eyes to the sky to see the sandhill cranes on their route. And of course, there are tons of other birds that migrate through. One of our more challenging migrators is the warbler family. These are small birds known for their bright yellow colors and their intricate songs. In the spring, they are looking their best with their bright colors ready for breeding season, and they're singing loud and proud for all their potential mates to hear. But come fall, they turn their bright colors for more dull tones, and the songs come to a stop. So I know I'm looking at some type of warbler when I see a small bird high in the tree canopy feasting on seasonal berries. The last time we were here filming pelicans for The Buzz, we were lucky enough to see some sandhill cranes. Usually you only see them flying overhead and making a lot of noise. They usually fly in a V formation and they sound like trumpets going off. But everybody needs to take a snack break and a good night's sleep. So sometimes you can find them in farm fields and marshy wetland areas. Now, if you want to see the cranes in the thousands, I recommend you take a little road trip to Jasper Pulaski Fish and Wildlife Area in Maderryville, Indiana. The Buzz crew took the trip last year, and it was mind-blowing. It really took my breath away because these cranes are flying in waves over your head, making so much noise, landing right in front of you. Some migrators call our area a nice winter retreat because their breeding grounds are so far up north in Canada that our winters feel like a vacation to the harsh weather up north. The most famous bird hailing from Canada may be the dark-eyed junco. They're small, charismatic little plump birds with black backs and white tummies, and they're very common to be at your feeders, feeding on the ground in groups. Dark-eyed juncos aren't the only ones. There's a few sparrows, like the American tree sparrow and the white-throated sparrow, as well as a few waterfowl, like ruddy ducks and common mergansers. One hotspot right now is here at McKinley Woods in Channahon. Pelicans are the birds of the hour, and joining us today is naturalist Jess McQuown to give us the inside scoop on these iconic birds. Why is McKinley Woods such a great place to go birding during migration?
So we're really lucky. We have 3 major habitats. We have river, we have prairie, and we have woods. And that creates this incredible stopover where basically whatever bird is in migration has a habitat here they can stop at, they can rest, they can feed before moving on.
Each September, you and your team host a pretty awesome event called Pelican Watch. Why do you think people just love pelicans?
I think what people really like about pelicans is that they're so big, they're easily recognizable. They have that really long bill that's kind of goofy, kind of charming, and it's really easy to tell that that is a pelican. Plus, you don't really expect them to be here, so how exciting that you can see a pelican in Will County.
What kind of tips would you give birders when they're coming out here during migration season to try to catch them all?
So the first thing that I would suggest is think about who you want to see. So do you want to see ducks and geese and all of those waterfowl? Go to the rivers and go to the pond. If you want to find our songbirds, we also have the woods and the prairie, and so just kind of have in mind who you're hoping to see, and that can help you navigate where to go. I also recommend going inside. We usually have had a chance to go out and find all the birds that are here, and we can help guide you and help give you direction to where the best birds are.
My tip would be to come out here often. You know, you're not going to see all the birds in one full swoop. You know, you have to come out here multiple times and have patience because birds move. Do you have any special ways to track the birds migrating? Like, how do you know that they're going to be here?
So first of all, I never really know exactly who's going to be here. The big thing that I use is cold fronts. So I watch the weather like my dad, and I watch for cold fronts that are bringing all those Canadian birds down. So things are starting to freeze over there and they're making their way down, and that's kind of my first clue. Then I use the Birdcast website, which most birds migrate at night, and there's so many of them, they actually show up on the Doppler. Last night we looked and there were 365 million birds migrating, and that changes from day to day. So sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's in the hundreds of millions of birds.
Of millions of birds.
Of millions at night.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's a really big one to look like, okay, it was a big night last night, let's
get outside. Do you have a rare bird that you remember seeing, or just like the thrill of the chase of finding a bird?
So my favorite experience here with finding a bird was, I didn't even look for it. I stumbled upon it, but we have this bird, a duck that comes through that's called the northern pintail, and I hear myself when I say this, but it is like the Cadillac of birds. It is so sleek and so beautiful. It has a blue bill and this crisp white and brown feathers on its back, and then this long tail that comes up, and it just looks sleek when it moves through the water. And I was down by where we have two rivers that meet, and I was down there just looking to see who was there, and I saw it moving along the water's edge, and I actually looked around to see if there was anybody else there that I could rope into being excited. I was all by myself, and which was great too, because I got to watch it for the whole time. And then it went off into the reeds and I lost sight of it, but it was just so exciting to see one here. They're my favorite duck, and it was just really, really exciting.
You had a fangirl moment.
I did. I really did.
And that's the thing with being naturalists, is we want to share it with people. So I've had that too, where I hear the sandhill cranes and I'm like, everybody outside! And they look at us a little weird, but it's true, it's really exciting.
This time of year, we mostly have waterfowl that's coming in. Most of our songbirds have gone down south, and a lot of the waterfowl, the ducks, the mergansers, are starting to come here for the winter. Some of them will still move on, but we'll have hooded mergansers. We have tiny little pied-billed grebes, which are about that big, and they dive down, so you'll see them for a second and then they're gone. And we'll have the American coot come too. Little black waterfowl. They don't have webbed feet, they have little lobes on their feet, which is really exciting. And we just constantly have change every season. There's a whole new batch. We'll have tundra swans and trumpeter swans, and it's just every single month, it's a totally new group of birds.
What do you love about birding, and what would you say to someone who's just getting into the hobby?
So I love it because I can do it all of the time. Anywhere I go, there's a bird that I can look at, but I just love how accessible the birds are. It's like anywhere I go, if I'm going on vacation, I can look up new birds. If I'm going to a forest that I've gone to a million times, I might see a new bird that I've never seen there before. It's constantly changing and it's always available. And then what I would say to a new person who's just getting into it is just try a new place, go to a different preserve, go to a different body of water, and just see what you can see. And I think once you start to go to new places and recognize new birds, you get hooked, and it really is, it takes on a life of its own from there.
And know that it's a learning and process. Like there's so much to learn from what they look like to what they sound like to how they move on migration. So like every step of the way, that's what I like, is there's always something.
Exactly. Like I'll see a bird at least once a year that I have no idea who it is, and I get to learn all about it. And it's been over a decade since I've been learning about birds.
Fall bird migration is a busy time of year. Make sure to keep your eyes and ears open as these birds travel through. Also, don't be afraid to visit our visitor centers to get the latest intel on what we've been seeing lately. It's always easier to find the pelicans when you know where to look. And if you miss it this time, no worries. It's always a great time to go birding. There are plenty of species that call Will County home all year long. And don't worry, come spring, these birds will be back again so you can catch them all.
Do you want to do more to protect nature, inspire discovery, and connect people with the great outdoors? You can when you support the Nature Foundation of Will County. This nonprofit charity raises funds through support from donors, organizations, and the business community to help support the Forest Preserve District of Will County's mission. The foundation helps various initiatives take flight. It helps the Forest Preserve secure national touring exhibitions. It pays for new amenities such as campground welcome stations and bike repair stations on Will County's regional trails. It assists with the costs associated with land stewardship, which includes equipment for volunteer workdays and seeding of native plants to restore the land to its original state, which helps enhance not only your outdoor experiences, but local wildlife's as well. There's a lot more work to be done, and we're just getting started. Roll with us on this adventure and become a champion for nature, so future generations can appreciate and explore everything Mother Nature has to offer. Donate today at willcountynature.org.
Are you looking for a new place to escape into nature? Well, look no further. Thorn Creek Woods Nature Preserve is tucked in park forest and has different large habitats, including mature trees that will be a sight to see as the leaves change throughout the season. This preserve protects more than 1,000 acres of land and features 2 miles of natural surface trails. You'll also find Thorn Creek Nature Center, which is a converted historical Civil War era church. They offer a variety of educational programs from nature hikes to workshops. This preserve has an incredible origin story with a little bit of luck, a lot of hardworking volunteers, and a handful of organizations working together to keep this land protected and wild. Andy Hawkins is the Director of Conservation Programs and is here to share how we got involved with Thorn Creek Woods. So Andy, this is an interesting preserve because there's a lot of different organizations involved. How did we get started with Thorn Creek?
Actually, it was the local residents that got this started. So back in the early 60s, and probably well before that, there was a lot of development pressure coming south to the south suburbs. So the local advocacy groups, the neighbors, they came together to create the Thorn Creek Preservation Association. like I said, in the mid-60s. And basically they were looking out to preserve these woods because this is a large tract of woodland that had not been cleared.
Well, perfect. Just wasn't developed and people saw like, ooh, this land is special.
Right.
We should do something.
Exactly. So then you move forward and they started working with the Northern Illinois Planning Association, and Open Lands was new at the time. They all worked together, got the state involved. There was a coalition that was formed between the different municipalities. We have Park Forest, University Park, Forest Preserve District of Will County, as well as the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. So moving forward, we had our first land acquisition in 1974, and it was part of that coalition's plan to preserve 850 acres of this.
How's it like working with all those different organizations? I imagine there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Well, you know, honestly, most of us have worked together for many years. I'm the new guy, and I've been working with them for about 20 years. It's interesting because we have kind of different ways we'd approach. I mean, you look at municipalities and Forest Preserve District and then the Friends of the Forest Preserve. So everybody's coming at it differently, but we all have a genuine agreement on how we're going to move forward.
This was a potential spot in the 1970s for a big expressway, and clearly that didn't happen. Do you know anything about that?
Well, that's well before our time. I've done a little research on it, and what I understand is that the Friends Group, or as it was called, the Thorn Creek Preservation Association at the time, they were key in actually making sure that that did not come through this area. According to all the documents I've seen, this is the largest wooded nature preserve in the Chicagoland region. You have to meet a certain standard to be able to be a nature preserve. That's threatened endangered species, high quality areas that you just don't find everywhere else. So when they came in to do that original survey back in the 70s, they found that, you know, this is just a special place. And so what was done at the time to preserve and make sure that into perpetuity there is no chance of development, essentially, we made it into a nature preserve. And so that has to go before the Nature Preserves Commission and be approved. And then it's the highest quality protection you can have on any public lands or on any lands in the state of Illinois.
Do you have any future goals for this preserve?
So I think the biggest goal would be to continue to preserve additional areas and acreage around for buffer to the nature preserve, as well as to connect to some of our adjacent preserves. We've got Thorn Grove Preserve, and we've got Thorn Creek Headwaters Preserve that are nearby in the same watershed.
Natural Resource Management Crew Leader Judith Wallace is here to share her experiences in this magical place. Judith, why do you feel Thorn Creek is special?
Well, I have been coming here for years and years since I was a teenager. We moved here from Canada when I was in 6th grade, and the backyard in Canada was woods. So when I found this place, I was enchanted. I loved it. And I would come out here hiking anytime I could. I've been coming here ever since then. Even as an adult, of course, I work here now, which is amazing.
Which is perfect.
And when I had my son, I would bring him out here. I remember I heard there was a pileated woodpecker here when he was about, 8 months old, and I put him in the big jogging stroller and came out here looking for the woodpecker. So he's also been coming his whole life. So it's a family experience for me. We come here every birthday for a hike. I use this as my go-to place when I want to kind of get away because it feels remote. You don't feel like you're in Illinois when you get out here. There's topography, there's wetlands, there's pines, there's beautiful trees, there's wildlife, and you just can take a moment to relax and refresh. And I wish more people knew about it. Some of the trees are just stunning. It's absolutely amazing. And the Virginia creeper is all turning red.
Yeah, Virginia creeper is always like the first sign to me that it's fall because it's boom, bright red in your face.
Yep.
We've only been walking for 10 minutes and I already feel like these giant trees, like that we're somewhere else.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. The minute you get, you know, as you say, just 10 minutes from the parking lot, you start feeling like you're hardly even in Illinois. The topography is changing a little bit. The trees are spectacular. It's quiet. We've just started to pick up a lot of singing insects. I usually start hearing a lot more birds out from this point onwards. I mean, it's phenomenal. And one of the things I absolutely love is the natural surface. It's all just a really nice kind of hard-packed dirt trail, which we don't have in a lot of our preserves. And it's really kind of unique, I think.
Yeah, it's nice sometimes to get your boots a little dirty.
Oh, yeah.
I always celebrate that.
Absolutely, yes.
This preserve being one of the most eastern preserves we have, maybe out of the way for a lot of people, what would you say is a reason to make the trip out here?
Oh, well, I'd say it's well worth the trip, first of all.
Agreed.
Because, I mean, it's so lovely in the fall, and where we are walking right now, you can hardly hear any traffic. Like I hear a plane, that's about it. So that is one thing I love, is the lack of traffic noise, the solitude, the feeling of peacefulness. It's just so relaxing, and opportunities to see wildlife or hear wildlife. Like I very, very often hear owls when I'm here. Usually always see some deer. I've seen red fox, coyote, squirrels, chipmunks, a wide variety of birds.
In the Forest Preserve, we have tons of experts on staff. When it comes to plants, you're my go-to plant person. So you found a special plant here. Can you tell us more about it?
I did. I found this last year when I was actually on my way to monitor another plant. I was just walking along. I was like, oh my gosh, that's poke milkweed. And the coolest thing about this, you don't think of milkweed as growing in the woods. This is a milkweed species that loves the woods. It gets white flowers and these really cool, well, the flowers are long gone now, and the leaves are starting to also droop and wilt because it's been so dry. But it did produce some seed pods this year. They're still pretty green. We don't want to tear one apart.
Not ready yet.
I didn't know this one was here until last year. So it's wonderful that we have it here. It's spreading. You know, I'm noticing it all around this area. Once you know what to look for, your eye starts picking it up. So one of the truly, truly unique, nice species that this preserve has.
This spot here is pretty popular for photographs and to come out to hike because of all these pines. What's so special about this little stretch?
Well, I like to call it the Avenue of Pines because we don't have too many preserves with this feature, and they are just gorgeous. You know, they were planted, of course, they're not naturally occurring, but they're really pretty at all seasons, I think. And I love when the trail transitions through this little stretch of pines because you're walking on really soft ground, you know, where the pine needles are, and they've all decomposed over the years. It's just you almost feel like you're in another, once again, another part of Illinois, you know, not northern Illinois, not south of Chicago. It just feels different.
Again, talking to the diverse tree species out here, this is a very unique one, all these knees that we're sitting on. What is this plant's tree?
Well, this is bald cypress, and there are a number of them surrounding this little wet area. They like to grow in wet areas, of course, and then these knees are actually their aerial roots, part of their aerial root system and their anchoring system. Sometimes the knees are really submerged in water, but you know, this time of year we can really plainly see them, and a lot of times you can see quite a bit of them poking up even when there is water. But this, I think, is super cool. Like, there's no other preserve I know of where you can go and sit on cypress knees.
Yeah, this makes me think of like Louisiana. They'd be marshy, swampy trees, and here they're right.
Yeah,
here at Thorn
they're right
Creek.
here.
We made it out to Owl Lake, which is kind of the grand finale when you're hiking out here. It's a little bit of a walk, but it's a pretty cool place. Judith, what do you like about Owl Lake?
I like it because it's kind of unexpected. You know, you hear, oh, Owl Lake is out there, but you don't really know what to picture. And when you get here, it's like, wow, this is cool. You know, it's a little lake, a little opening, kind of in the middle of the woods, literally, but it's open. It's got some cypress getting established. It's a great birding spot. You know, we've seen black-crowned night heron here, green heron, numerous warblers in the spring. Like, if you want to see warblers, this is a great spot to come. I
was like, I heard something.
Yeah, I did hear something. So So yeah, it's a treat. Like once again, it's one of those fun things. You make the trek all the way back to Owl Lake. It's kind of like the end of your hike. You can sit, maybe have a snack, listen, watch, and just enjoy the quiet. Like I hear no traffic now. And then hike back.
I'm so thankful to everyone involved who worked hard to keep this land preserved. It fills me with a sense of wonder that leads me to spend hours out here exploring. The Friends of Thorn Creek Woods are still active today and are responsible for keeping the Nature Center operating, funding new exhibits, programs, and even new improvements. To check out what programs are coming up next or to see how you can get further involved, check out tcwoods.org.
Hidden Oaks Nature Center is the district's newest acquisition, and we're excited to be able to help others reconnect with nature in the heart of Bolingbrook. There are plenty of opportunities to learn about the natural world both inside and outside. You're sure to leave smarter than when you arrived. Spend some time with our resident turtles. Let the kids show off their crafty side. Check out all the nooks and crannies. Explore the outdoor nature play area and let those little legs run wild and burn off some energy. This visitor center is for you, supported by your tax dollars, so take advantage of everything it has to offer. Map your next adventure at reconnectwithnature.org.
It's a perfect time of year to explore Thorn Creek Woods Nature Preserve. And don't forget your binoculars, as it's also fall bird migration season. You'll never know what you're going to stumble upon as the birds take to the skies to fly to their wintering grounds. Need a little help with your bird identification? Well, map your next adventure with us at reconnectwithnature.org to find upcoming guided bird hikes. I hope to see you becoming a full-on bird nerd, but until then, I'll see you next time on The Buzz.